Welcome to Storytime Fun, boys and girls. We hope you enjoy. Today's story is out of the classic fairy tales book from Hans Christian Andersen and the Brothers Grimm, as retold by Nicola Baxter. And today's story is called Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. One cold winter's day, a queen sat sewing by an open window. Suddenly, she pricked her finger, and a drop of red blood fell on the snow below. The queen looked down and sighed. "One day," she whispered, "I would like to have a daughter with skin as white as this snow, lips as red as this blood, and hair as black as this window frame." Before long, the queen's wish came true. Her baby daughter looked just as she had imagined. So she called her Snow White. But very shortly afterward, the queen died, leaving the baby to be brought up by her husband, the king. The king was heartbroken by his wife's death, but he soon became lonely, and within a year, he had married again. The new queen was extremely beautiful, but her heart was cold as ice. Now, the queen had a magic mirror that she looked into every day, and every day she asked the mirror a question. "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest one of all?" And the mirror would at once reply, "O queen, now I can truly say, you are the fairest one this day." Hearing this, the queen would be satisfied. Meanwhile, little Snow White was growing up. Every day, she grew more and more beautiful. So it was that the day came when the mirror gave a reply that made the queen mad with fury. "O queen, your time has passed away. Snow White is the fairest one this day." Turning to look at her stepdaughter, the queen saw the truth of the mirror's words. She hurried through the castle and called for a huntsman. "Take Snow White into the forest," she told him, "and bring me back her heart to show that she is dead." Reluctantly, the huntsman did as the wicked woman had said, but when the moment came to kill the girl, he could not bring himself to do it. "Just leave me here," begged Snow White, sobbing. I promise that I will never, ever come home." So the huntsman took back an animal's heart and left Snow White in the dark forest all alone. Snow White wandered through the trees for hours. Then, just when she thought she could go no farther, she saw a quaint little cottage. No one came to answer her knock, so she tiptoed inside. What a curious little house it was! On the table were 7 little plates and 7 little glasses. In the middle was a basket of bread and fruit. Poor Snow White was so hungry that she took a little bit of food. Then she climbed up the winding stairs to the bedroom, where she lay down on the first little bed she came to and fell fast asleep. Several hours later, Snow White was awoken by a sharp little voice. "Just what do you think you're doing in our house?" it asked. Snow White looked up to see 7 dwarfs in working clothes standing around. The young girl took her courage in both hands and explained what had happened to her. "And now," she said, "I have nowhere to go at all." "Yes, you do," chorused the dwarfs. "You can stay here with us." They told her that they worked all day and needed someone to look after them. "You will be safe here," they said, "but you must promise to never open the door to a stranger." So Snow White stayed with the dwarfs. She cooked their meals and cared for their little house. But her life was very different from the one she had lived at home. She longed for someone to talk to during the long days. Then, one fine morning, her wish came true. An old woman with a basket of pretty things knocked on the cottage door. Snow White longed to look through the laces and the ribbons in the stranger's basket, but she remembered her friend's warning. Still, she could not resist talking to the woman through the open window. Snow White did not realize that her visitor was none other than the wicked queen in disguise. For months, the queen had been so happy that she did not consult her mirror at all. When she did, she had a terrible shock. "Oh, Queen, you cannot have your will, for Snow White is the fairest still." Raging through the kingdom, the queen had hunted high and low for the missing girl, taking on different disguises. She could scarcely hide her delight at finding the girl at last. "You are wise not to open the door to strangers, my dear," she smiled. "But to show that there are no hard feelings, please take this shiny red apple as a gift from a new friend." It seemed so impolite to refuse, so Snow White stretched out her hand and took the apple. It looked delicious. Yummy in my tummy. Waving goodbye to her visitor, she took one tiny bite. Then the dwarfs returned from their work that evening. They found Snow White lying lifeless on the floor, the apple still clutched in her hand. "This is the work of that queen, I'm sure," cried one dwarf, sobbing. "She has robbed us of the sweetest girl in the world." Sadly, the dwarfs took their friend and placed her in a crystal coffin, taking turns to watch over her night and day. She seemed to grow more lovely as she lay there, silent, cold, and still. One morning, a young prince rode by and saw the coffin and the beautiful girl inside. He fell in love with her at once and vowed, although she could never be his bride, that he would not be parted from her. "Let me take her back to my palace," he begged, "where she can lie in the state as befits a princess." The dwarfs discussed the matter and agreed that she deserved no less. Carefully, they helped the prince to lift the coffin. But as they did so, the piece of apple that had caught in Snow White's throat was dislodged, and she took one breath and then another, and amid the tears of her friends, she sat up and smiled at the prince. You may guess the end of the story. Snow White and her prince lived happily ever after. And the wicked queen, she was so eaten up with rage and envy that she died soon after, leaving the young couple to enjoy their happiness in peace. Yay! Well, that's it for today. We'll see you next time.